You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast. So we're here to talk about day 3 of the final Ashes test, obviously between England and Australia. It was a crushing day for England. Everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. Multiple drop catches, tons for Australian batters, bowlers spraying the ball all over the place. It was hot and it was ugly. And I'm Jack Hope. Hot and not ugly. Joined by Max Roy Brown. How you doing, Max?
I was expecting to set me up with hot and ugly as well. So I'm pleased that you avoided that. I'm fine. I've been ill for a few days and not feeling great, but feeling still probably better than England are at cricket from what I've seen.
Feeling better than England are. What if England were? That's a good place to start. If England were a common sickness, let's not get too morbid here.
Dark.
A sickness that you would normally expect to recover from. Fine. What sickness would they be?
It's pretty something that makes you feel like you want it all to end, but actually it's all right. So maybe just like a bad case of the flu.
Bad flu. Okay. Yeah. I can see bad
or like
flu.
early COVID.
What about norovirus?
Oh yeah, but that's over usually quite quickly, isn't it? This has been quite drawn out. This experience of England.
I don't know. I feel like it's been over quite quickly. Look, we'll move on from flu and shitting yourself to talk about the cricket. Before we get there, just a reminder to everyone to remember to click like and subscribe on whichever platform you are listening or watching on. There's a fair chance this is the penultimate live show anyway of the Ashes. If you've been enjoying it, let us know in the chat, drop us a message on social media or whatever, but mostly make sure you leave us a review on whichever platform you listen to the podcast on. Max, let's hear what happened overnight in the cricket.
Of course. So England started the day, in a spot of bother, but not completely out of it. Thanks to Joe Root's heroics on day one, and the fact that not that much time had passed. Although Australia side 166 for 2, still a decent enough lead in there, and not all. It wasn't all a disaster. There was still hope for England to get back into things, and that hope disappeared pretty quickly as Travis Head sauntered to his 100, and then once the vaguely threatening bowling of Stokes and Tongue was put to one side, it was time to cash in on the lottery bowling of Matthew Potts and Bryden Cass, and the ball flew all over the place. Eventually, England got Michael Neser out after a 90-ball vigil, and then it was time to watch Steve Smith bat for ages, because that's what happens when you play Australia and you are England. And it just continued like that, really. England dropped a bunch of catches. They bowled quite badly. Steve Smith tucked in. Travis Head very gamely gave his wicket away when really he could have stayed there and scored 350 if he wanted. And it gave England a sniff. But even after that wicket fell, it was still a run of partnerships with Steve Smith. I think 7 partnerships of over 50 in this innings, the second most ever in a test innings. I read earlier, which kind of gives you a sense of the feeling of inevitability of the Australian batting innings. They end the day 518 for 7 with a healthy lead of 134. Still Mitchell Starc to come because of that elongated batting lineup with Neser coming in at 4. Bo Webster well placed on 42. Steve Smith still there, 129. And a fairly tired and ragged-looking England bowling attack with no ideas left. Can England take it to 5 days?
I think that's a good question. Might as well start with the end in mind. I think they should. Is the answer. There's nothing I saw overnight suggests that Australia are going to suddenly score 250 runs before lunch. They're doing they're playing competent cricket, and they will try and bat probably most of the morning session, but I doubt they'll do that in like some sort of a crazy way. So let's spot Australia another 100 runs and say they do bat to lunch. Can England get 250 runs, or can England, after Australia have scored the 100 runs, can they bat for what will probably be about 60 overs, or can they get 250 runs? I think the answer to that should be yes. I don't think that they'll be taking it deep into day 5. I think a good team would. I think there's no reason on this pitch against this Australian bowling attack that a good team wouldn't have a really decent chance of drawing this test match, frankly. The problem is we're not talking about a decent team. We're not really talking about a team with to be fair to England, they are a decent team, but we're not talking about a team here that have got the equipment to get a draw out of this scenario.
The mental equipment.
I think the technical equipment. I don't think they can bat for long enough, and I don't think they can score enough runs to put Australia under any pressure. I mean, if you wanted to get a draw out of this match, you'd have to bat 150 overs, 130 overs, something like that. Doable. Happens all the time in Test cricket. If the pitch stays like it is against this bowling attack, doable. The other way of doing it is to get like 700 in, or what will it be? You probably need to get 600 runs in 110 overs. That's more England style, but I don't know whether that's particularly realistic based on what we've seen in the series so far, based on how some of the players are looking, and probably just sort of general tiredness. So yeah, but I know there's a long way of saying I think they'll make it to day 5, Max. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if they ended up losing by an innings, which is essentially what we're talking about here, isn't it? That would be a pretty disastrous way to go about ending the cricket. Because, Australia are just going to bat for as long as they can. They're probably going to take quite a good chunk out of tomorrow, and then if they don't, that means the lead isn't as high, and Australia have to come back and bat. So I think either way it goes, you would expect it to go to day 5, but I don't see it going to day 5 with any hope for England. You say, a formality.
We're probably in a situation where the most interesting thing about tomorrow is whether Steve Smith will make it to 200.
That's depressing.
Really, will he hit a double ton in his final home Ashes appearance?
That's not something I want to stay up for.
She's likely to be his final home Ashes appearance. It'd be a nice story, wouldn't it? It'd be a good way for him to end his career. Not end his career, because I imagine he'll play on in Test cricket and probably try and win away the 2027 series. If I was Steve Smith, that's what I'd be aiming for. That's where we're at. If we talk about the morning, that's probably Steve Smith batted well. That's what you need to know after lunch. The morning was grim, really grim from an England point of view. Maybe the worst of the Ashes. I don't know, Max. There've been some quite bad moments. Was it the worst?
That's a good question. I don't think it was quite the worst, because they actually bowled okay in the first 15 overs, 20 overs of the day. There was when it was Ben Stokes and Josh Tongue taking the ball to start the day, and they put it in the right area. They didn't bowl it stupidly short, and they didn't bowl a bunch of half volleys and full tosses, and they made Travis Head work of it. Ben Stokes had Travis Head jumping around quite a few times, turned him inside out. A couple of overs in a row. Pretty unlucky, maybe not to get a nick or two. Michael Nisa played and missed about 900 times as well before he eventually got out. So actually, if you sort of take that start and think, you get a bit of luck and you nick one out at that point, and then maybe you've got a bit more of an opportunity to get into your work and do a bit more damage. As it happened, they didn't get that break that they needed, and once once Stokes and Tongue were to one side, that's when the wheels started to come off. So I think there was enough in there that wasn't a complete disaster to suggest it wasn't the worst day of the series. I'm thinking back to I can't remember whether it was Perth or Adelaide where England were particularly bad with the ball, and I think it might have been Adelaide when it was a good pitch to bat on, and England were terrible with the ball, and Australia came out and showed them exactly how to bowl and made it really difficult for England's bowlers. I don't think it was quite as disastrous as that, but it was still pretty bad. The fielding as well. Will Jacks's drop, that was not good. But again, we've had days where England have dropped like 4 catches in the space of 5 or 6 overs. So still not the worst day of the series. So maybe that just serves to highlight how much of a disaster some of this Ashes actually has been.
I think it was the worst day of the series.
Do you?
Yeah, I think so.
Does the fact that it's kind of all over anyway factor into it at all? Or are you talking just cold hard facts?
Yeah, from the perspective of like the from an emotional perspective, I think you say that, but the from a cricketing point of view, I don't think England did anything right. I mean, particularly in the morning. Most of the day too, but particularly in the morning. What did they do? Managed to drop 2 catches. Had they lost all their reviews by lunch? I think they lost all their reviews by lunch. Arguably 3 catches.
Mostly on Michael Neser.
That class one was pretty difficult. But let's say 3 catches.
I'm not counting the cast one. That would have been even better than Labuschagne's catches, I think.
They bowled especially badly. You can't let them off the hook because they made Travis Head play him twice in his first 10 balls in the morning.
But I mean, didn't they bowl worse yesterday?
They bowled bad on all the days, with the exception of like 2 in the series. If there's a day that England bowled on, then the chances are they bowled badly. But I think yesterday, or in the morning, today, they just didn't bowl any good balls. They didn't look like they were anywhere near taking a wicket. They started against the night watchman, and they couldn't get him out. How many balls did he face?
90
balls.
Yeah,
that's not very good. It's really not very good.
More than Labuschagne, Weatherald, Khawaja, Carey, Cameron Green.
He's left runs out there, to be honest. If he'd been a little bit more progressive, he could have had a 50. Someone's saying in the chat he has 5 centuries, not a buddy. Yeah, look, it's true. He's not an awful player, but he is the night watchman. You've got a chance, fresh bowlers against him in the morning. He's faced, how many did he face overnight? 15 balls overnight, I think. So he's faced 75 balls in the morning. And he wasn't really troubled, to be honest. Apart from the time he was out. Apart from the time he was troubled when he was out, and they gave him not out. Like, he was in a lot of trouble the time he hit the ball to the keeper. But otherwise, he looked pretty comfortable. He looked very, very comfortable. Travis Head was smacking them all over the place as usual. It's a little bit difficult to be critical of that, because when Travis Head's on, he's on, and you have to accept that sometimes. But particularly tonight, watching they were poor. And Steve Smith again. Ross and I were saying Travis Head's Christmas has come 300 days early, 345 days early, 355 days early. Against the bowler yesterday. Steve Smith is saying exactly the same thing. I mean, some of the shots he was playing early in his innings to just cash in and score 4 runs were preposterously easy, short and wide, and slow.
With the new ball, it was as bad as it's been. I think that I will give you.
I don't think Steve Smith will ever score an easier century than the one he hit overnight. Or during the day if you're in Australia. There's just nothing particularly there was nothing to redeem the performance. Bryden Cast tried hard. You can say that.
Bryden Cast
Stoked.
always tries hard, and his
Stoked.
reward for trying hard is that he gets to burgle wickets and somehow ends up with like over 20 wickets in the series despite bowling like an absolute drain. And I've had enough of it. Cameron Green hold out. Usman Khawaja missed a full toss.
Yeah. Well, look, that's true. Cast tried hard. Stokes bowled one or two decent spells. The spinner's pretty toothless. Tongue.
Josh Tongue was okay.
Not much. Matthew Potts, someone has asked in the chat, is his career over? That's how bad he was. People are asking, he's 25. People are asking, is it all over for Matthew Potts? 27 rather. There's just nothing good. You were begging for Matthew Potts to come back into this. Yeah. What do you think about that now?
I think that I didn't quite expect him to be that bad. Is what I was expecting when I was calling for Matthew Potts. I thought he'd come in and have a bit of control, maybe use the new ball and have an actual specialist new ball bowler for England, because that's one of the signs of one of the reasons that England have been so bad, isn't it? That they've been giving Bryden Cast the new ball, and he's never done that for Durham or his club, his county, rather. He's only ever bowled as a change bowler, and he's been thrown the new ball, and he averages something like 80 doing it. I mean, what do you expect? Like, you could clearly see that he can't control the new ball. So it was madness that they were asking him to do it. So I thought maybe Matthew Potts, who does bowl with the new ball, might be able to, extract a bit more, use a bit more nous, and he's been absolutely diabolical. But yeah, he's not really played any cricket, has he? So maybe that's why. Matthew Potts is not that bad at cricket. He's not as bad at cricket as he has been displaying in this game. But
yeah, I think that's fair. I don't know what the cause of it is. There are people saying the last time, David in the chat has said the last time he bowled in a match was at Lilac Hill. Did he go? He might have gone to Canberra a little bit there. I'm not sure. Yeah, but
he played in one of the Lions games.
But it's a while, and he hasn't bowled in a test match for a very long time. It is an ask. I think it is an ask. The thing is, his main skill is bowling line and length. Like that's what he's in the team to do, and he
failed to do either of those.
Heroically failed on both counts. Yeah, it wasn't like he wasn't missing his length, he wasn't missing his line, he was missing both by feet.
The ESPN cricket, the ESPN pitch map thing for Matthew Potts, particularly to the left-handers, it makes for a good viewing. It's just a yellow square, a really big yellow square.
Yeah. So something's gone wrong there. I don't know. Maybe he's got a technique problem. Maybe something's come into his game that needs to be worked out. Maybe England not having a bowling coach is a problem for him. There's no one he can go to. Like there's it's just him trying to solve it with a bloke he met 6 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago or whatever it was. Like there's some sort of an issue there. I think Matthew Potts will probably play for England again and probably bowl pretty well. He has on previous occasions. It was quite shockingly bad, but
Scott Boland had days like this in England, didn't he? And look at him now.
Yeah. It wouldn't be the fifth day of an Ashes test though if someone who hadn't played in the entire series didn't come into the team. The fifth test of an Ashes series rather. Someone who hadn't played in the whole of the rest of the series came into the team and conceded 150 from no wickets.
It's nice. Like it's really bad, obviously, from an England perspective and as an England fan, but it gives you a kind of warm, fuzzy feeling of comfort and familiarity that despite everything, there are still things that are commonplace in England tours and Australia, and one of those is someone who hasn't played in the entire series coming into the fifth test and having a nightmare. Yeah,
it was bad, and I think they're not picking a proper squad. I'm the key tried to justify this, didn't he, by saying that they were taking too many people on tours or too many cooks or whatever. Yeah, in modern cricket,
is that why they dropped Sam Cook?
Oh, I thought you meant Curran. I was like, no, they dropped him because he's you have to have a number of fast bowlers available to you on a tour, a 5-test tour. You have to have some people who can bowl overs for you.
And maybe
Can't
even
just-
a few extra
can't
if
just be
you know
left.
that half of them are bound to end up injured at any given moment.
Yeah, you can't just be left with whoever at the end of a major series. None of them can open the bowling, and you don't. There's some really poor decision making.
I'm a little sad that we've not got to see Josh Hall and Matthew Fisher in this Test match.
Well,
it would have been the same. Nothing would have changed.
At some point, England needed to have when they decided Anderson wasn't coming on this tour, which is a reasonable decision. That's a very reasonable call to make. They needed to have a serious look at Sam Cook or someone like that, or rehabilitate Robbie Ollinson, Ollie Robinson.
Robbie Ollinson.
They needed someone who reliably could take the new ball. They don't have to play every Test match, but you need those kind of guys around, and it's absolutely killed them in this Test match. It's probably killed them in a couple of the others as well. They got away with it at the MCG because the pitch was too bad to bat at any point, really.
And it probably get injured after bowling 5 of 10 overs.
Yeah, probably if we want to go back in time a little bit as well. Probably it hurt them in the summer when Wokes wasn't bowling well. They didn't have anyone. They didn't trust anyone else to take the new ball, so they just kept picking him.
You give Sam Cook one go against Zimbabwe. He doesn't take 15 wickets in the match, and you say, "Well, you're no good."
Well, yeah, exactly. So I can add it to there's some things that people have said you didn't prepare for this, and the people saying it are wrong. And there are some things where it's like, how do you not know who's a good opening bowler in English cricket in an era of cricket where every team in the world that's any good has got 3 or 4 options to open the bowling? I mean, West Indies have got 4 guys who could open the bowling, for fuck's sake.
I don't get the impression.
South Africa have got about 10 guys who could open the bowling on any given day and do a good job. India have got a punch. Yeah. Like,
I genuinely don't get the impression England think that opening the bowling is a skill. From the bowling attacks that they pick, they just pick the guys who can bowl 90 miles an hour. I mean, Rob Keys basically said as much, that's all he's interested in, right? People who can bowl quick. And they've just completely disregarded the concept of bowling with the new ball as a skill, which is bizarre to me. But there you
go. Yeah. Look, Max, there's no shape and structure to this podcast. Is there anything you want to say nice about the Australians? They did play pretty well.
It was kind of vintage Australia, wasn't it? Putting England to the sword. Well, Steve Smith and Travis Head put England to the sword. Everyone else was quite nice. Khawaja got out. Alex Carey fell into the same trap for the 3rd Test match in a row, getting caught at leg slip or leg gully. Cameron Green holed out very nicely. That was good of him as well. So, I mean, it could have been worse, really. So actually, maybe thank you, Australia, for it not being 600 for 5 is what I could say. I mean, they've been impressive, and they've put England to the sword as much as they've needed to. But it has been a little bit men against boys in the last day and a half, hasn't it? Especially after day one, everyone was like, "Oh, look, England, Joe Root's looking good. Australia, are they on the beach? They don't care anymore. Look, Mitchell Starc hasn't taken 9 wickets. They're not interested now that it's now the whitewash is over and that the Ashes are secured. Australia don't care, and look at them now. That's a good message to send back to the people that were saying that, I think.
Yeah. Yes, they batted really well. I think it going back slightly earlier in the Test as well, it probably magnifies how useful Michael Neser was. 60 for 4 for 60 on this pitch. It's pretty good going, including the wickets of Crawley and Root and Will Jacks, so 3 of England's actual batters. Probably, I mean, like the difference. It sounds kind of mad when you've seen 2 Australians battle day. The difference again, I think, in this Test, as it has been for most of the series, is that the Australian bowling is just a bit better than the English bowling. I really think that there's much less between the batting than you think. Like if England were batting against England, I think they'd be posting very, very similar scores to what the Australians are posting.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Right, you got Steve Smith as your Joe Root. Travis Head is probably equivalent to. I mean, you'd say Harry Brook when he was batting at 5. Those two are pretty similar, and then the rest are all kind of what you're going to get from them. You don't necessarily know. Alex Carey has had a really good series. Jamie Smith has had a bad series, but those two would otherwise not be wildly dissimilar. Ben Stokes you'd probably rely on a bit more than Cameron Green, and I think that's a fair point to make. The bowling is just light years different.
It was a stark contrast in this. This isn't.
Indeed, there is.
This isn't. I think earlier in the podcast I was saying that this isn't the world's best bowling attack from an Australian perspective, and I would stand by that. Versus
it's not Australia's best bowling attack.
Cummins and Lyon and Stark, but it's more than serviceable it's much better than what England are putting out. If England had the bowling that Australia have here, I don't think Australia are getting 518 for 7. I think the contrast there is massive, and this isn't even in Australia's prime bowling lineup. Although, I've said as well, I don't think we'll see the 4 of them play much Test cricket together ever again because they're all old and quite injury prone. But it kind of shows the level, doesn't it? That Australia's. Where is Nisa in the pecking order? Is he 6th choice seamer, something like that? 5th choice or 6th choice seamer?
Oh, he's probably one behind Boland, isn't
60.
he?
So that'll make him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5, 4, 5, 5, 4.
Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins, Boland.
Yes. And he's probably he's been probably the second best bowler of the series. You'd probably say it's Stark, Nisa, Archer in terms of bowling talent or bowling performances.
TNT Sports were trying to claim that English fans back home probably never heard of Michael Nisa, which I thought was an interesting.
I think there'll be a lot. There'll be a lot who haven't.
He's played quite a lot of county cricket.
Yeah, I know, but there's a lot of people who don't really watch county cricket, Max. I would say the average England cricket fan watches 0.2 games of county cricket every year. So he probably has slipped under the radar for most people.
England could do with him right now.
Or if they'd ever heard of him, they probably didn't know he was Australian.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Why aren't they picking this Nisa guy? That's probably what people would be.
Well,
I bet someone has definitely said that.
I'll tell you what, we'll be hearing the Where's Dan Worrell chat pretty soon.
Look, Matt, you should probably bring this to an end. There'll be time for a proper
deep dive, an evisceration.
An evisceration tomorrow, I imagine, or the day after at the latest. Before we get to Heroes and Villains, just want to say thank you to everyone who has been following along during the Ashes. Do make sure you click like and subscribe and so on. We've got big news, Max, on the Spotify reviews front. Big news. Yesterday, we came into yesterday on 706 reviews. We mentioned it on the podcast, 2 behind the great man. We're now on 718. We've bagged 12 reviews overnight. It's it's a romper of a day.
It's amazing what a bad day for England cricket can do for us, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, 12 reviews overnight. So thank you very much. If you did leave a review, we're now better than Shane Warne officially. Which is a great thing to be able to take away from the Ashes. That although England are bad, we are better than Shane Warne. I'm sure he's up there looking down on us proudly as we overhaul him. Max, who's your hero of the day?
Well, after that, I'd have to say the hero is all of the listeners who left us a review to take us past the great man. I guess I will go for Steve Smith. Travis Head's the other option, but he did most of his work yesterday. Steve Smith came in, like I say, probably last home Ashes test at the SCG, where he has a lot of fun. And he did the job very Steve Smithly. So I can't look past him, I think, today.
Someone did point out that there'll be another test. There's this 150th anniversary test next year, so maybe that will be Steve Smith's final. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Or maybe that'll be Steve Smith's final. I don't know if that counts as an Ashes test. Not really sure. I guess it might.
If we get the Ashes, if we win it, then maybe we should suggest that.
There was a one test series once. There was a one test series once, so
it's worth 150 points in the World Test Championship.
Yeah. Steve Smith's a decent shout. Who are the other candidates is the question. Michael Nisa, I think, batting for 90 balls is quite funny. I think that's the night coward, as we call it, that was not a cowardly innings. He was the night hero for a day.
Right.
So I'm going to say Michael Nisa, the night hero, 24 off 90. Was it the most sexy innings of all time? No. Was it a good innings? Maybe. Was he out? I think he probably.
Yes.
Well, can we talk about that quickly?
Yeah,
he was
out.
Have
done that, have we? I mean,
what's going on with that thing?
Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? But there was absolutely, once you saw that the bat hit the ground, anywhere near where the ball was passing the bat, there was absolutely no way you could ever expect it to be given a givable out. You can't, because it was just going to get lost in the noise, wasn't it? Just another thing to highlight how absolutely abject the technology. I can't believe they've been allowed to use that for not even just, you can't even say anything like a series of this magnitude. Any series of cricket, any professional sport relying on technology that awful is mind blowing. I don't remember it being that bad either. Like in the past, like they've used it before, like years. I remember Snicko from when it first came in. I don't remember it ever being that like abject, like so off from the visuals. It's completely insane. You can't. It just doesn't give you the information you need. So it's pretty bizarre. Big up Ultra Edge when they finally moved to that. But yeah, I mean, Joe Root. It was quite hard to tell from the picture. I think the reaction for me tells me that it was probably out. Like Joe Root was pretty convinced. He was like, you can hear him on the stump mic, and he was like, "Yeah, it's hit the ball, and then the bat's hit the ground." Like he's seen that. I think they all go up at the same time in the slips as well, which tends to give you a bit of a clue. And the bowler as well. I think it looked like it was probably out, but again, like if the technology isn't good enough to tell you it's out, then you can't give it out. So just another one that England have fallen on the wrong side of on Snicko Gate. But maybe that changed the game. That wicket, Steve Smith would have been in. It'd have been out first ball. England would have had a lead of 50.
Yeah, look, I don't. Maybe it does change the game, maybe it doesn't. But I can't understand. I think in this case, knowing the limitations of Snicko, which are well documented, very well documented at this point, I think there's a little bit of user error on the part of Dharmasena as well. I think from the review I've seen, and like granted this was on my phone at midnight or something like that, so I've not got the best view in the world. It looks like there's pretty clearly two noises. Like they're not synced up. Like it's not, but it's not like the bat is hitting the ball at the same time as the bat is hitting the ground. It looks like on the review that there's a big noise and a little noise. Really poor umpiring, I thought, and
I'm not sure. Yeah,
system.
I don't know if that is enough to give it to overturn it. I just think the whole system is shit and throw it in the bin.
Yeah. I think the ball might even move as well. I've got a video of it up in the background, which obviously I can't put on the screen for rights purposes, but I think the ball actually changes direction. Poor. Even if he wasn't, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Even if he wasn't out, who cares? Doesn't make any difference. And he's the hero of the day. Michael Nisa, hero of the day. But I think it's nice that we had to have one more discussion about Snicko.
Yeah.
Is he the inventor of
Okay.
Snickers and nutcase?
Yeah, total like anti-vax, conspiracy
Yeah.
theorists, all sorts.
So he's a fucking moron, and his invention is fucking shit. I think that's a good summary to end the Snicker debate on. Villain of the day, Max. Who's the villain?
I think. Did you give it? Who did you give it to yesterday? Was it Jamie Smith?
I think we went for Jamie Smith.
I
think we went for Jamie Smith.
I think Will Jacks is probably in with a shout for that drop. That was quite bad. Okay, I think it would be harsh to give it to Matthew Potts for his bowling spell, because he did drag it back from going at 8 and over to just 5.6. So that is an improvement on his outing from yesterday. So yeah, I think Will Jacks for throwing the ball away, looking at his feet when he should have been looking at the ball.
Will Jacks is the safe option. I'm going to go with Rob Key because I don't think we've done it yet.
Well, still one more day to go.
The interview he gave, was it just before Christmas? I was listening to it on Christmas Day when I was walking over to get Christmas dinner. Some nice festive listening for me there. Almost everything he said in it has, over the next 2 tests, turned out to be like verifiably dumb. Stuff like, we don't need a fielding coach, we don't need a bowling coach, we need a small squad. Everything he said has come back to, basically look like a really silly thing to have believed in the first place.
Remember when he gave that interview where he was saying all the England players need to think a bit better about what they say in press conferences and interviews?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a strange interview. It was basically like he was a pundit, except he was talking about himself. Like sort of giving an assessment of himself. But the point he was making about preparation and selection and the coaching to start having a small coaching staff, almost all of that stuff, I think looks like pretty weak sauce, to use a Tarantino-ism at this point. So let's say Rob Key, because he deserves at least one villain mention during the series. Max, anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, just all the usual. Thanks again for following along with us, and please, do like, subscribe, and stick with us for what's to come, because we got a World Cup just around the corner. No rest for the wicked, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Goodbye, everyone.